Picture taking must be over.
Oh, they look
Yeah.
nice in the shirts. Hey, family.
Well, what's the name of the church? Oh, it's on the YouTube now.
Yeah, it's on
Yay, it's
YouTube.
on YouTube. Okay, we can. Oh, yay.
It's like a delay. It's like
It was like off. She have to make them.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Okay,
we could probably.
Turn the YouTube up, the sound up.
How do you leave it?
Huh?
How do you leave it?
I don't know. Use a click.
Turn the YouTube up, the sound up.
I don't know. Use a click. Use a click.
Yeah. It's getting ready to.
You got it? Okay. Got it.
Yeah. Getting ready to.
What was it? 20 minutes?
About an hour.
No, I mean, it just.
Oh, you heard me.
Oh, good. It's on the YouTube now, the clip.
Yeah.
I'm glad you told me to pull that up.
You heard me. Yeah. Because I couldn't get it on my computer because the camera couldn't come up.
Okay, so everybody, we're gonna have to mute our phones from what cousin Zakira said. Okay? So
Okay.
we can't talk
Okay,
anymore.
thank you. Okay.
Because the camera couldn't come up.
See.
Okay, so everybody, we're gonna have to mute our phones from what cousin Zakira said. Okay?
Okay. Okay. Okay, here it comes. It's the new one. You back in Zoom? Okay, you are. You back in. Make sure you muted.
Make sure what?
Make sure you muted. Okay, now look at Bob. There you go. You're muted. Yeah. Yeah, now you hear. I hear sure. Oh no, that's a stupid. You're not muted. Then. You look at Bob. Yeah, now you hear. I hear sure. Yeah. Come.
Yeah.
You just have to tap it. No, right, stop right there.
Unmute.
No, no, no.
Is, is someone there?
They're still setting up. We just got to keep our mics on mute.
Oh, okay, I'll go back on mute.
And we want to make sure that the generations that are coming up understand what your ancestors have done. Understand the gifts, the natural gifts that you have. So many of you are empaths. So many of you are healers. So many of you work with the earth. And that is through your DNA. And we want to make sure that you understand that. Some of you are writers. That is in your DNA. And entrepreneurs, they were all entrepreneurs. So when you have that urge to start your business, go ahead. Your ancestors have your back. And basically, I want to make sure that we get some facts straight and you understand how you're related to Frederick Douglass and how you were related through the Baileys. We are all Baileys. All of us are Baileys. We are the descendants, spouses of, children of Stephen and Caroline Bailey. So we're going to start with one of our authors, poets in the family, David Isaac Beckham, correct? Isaac after ancestors. And he's written a poem for the family reunion.
So it's good to see everyone again. I'll stand up just to say hello. Again, I'm David. I'm the quiet one. I'm shy. The book that I put out last year in May is I Am a Poet, Not a Writer. And I encourage everyone, you may be able to get an opportunity to read one or two from it at a later time. Okay? But I'm going to start off with a poem that I wrote on the airplane for this very special occasion. And it really is a special occasion. It's a short poem, so I'm going to read it twice. Don't clap, just kind of absorb it, okay? So I'm going to read it twice, and then I'm going to move on to the search history, okay? So it's called Hugs. Family, I knew I must write something for this special family reunion. I toss and turned in the middle of the night. The days have turned from yesterday to today as I sit on this airline flight. Soon there will be hugs. Some will be polite, others a little more tight. Some hugs mixed with kisses, and those very special hugs that will last a little longer and will be a little tighter and a little harder for me to let go until a whisper in my ear tells me it'll be all right. I remember what you remember. I see what you see. I feel what you feel. Our family love is so real. Weren't we blessed to grow as cousins in such a loving family nest that spread across the country from east to west? It's okay, cousin. You can let me go now. I promise this time I won't run away or tease you about the way you dance like you have okay, cousin, you can let me go now. I know. I know I love you too. It felt like yesterday I held you high as shoe. I'll see you at the next family reunion, family reunion, family reunion. So I'm going to read it one more time if that's okay. Family. I knew I must write something for this special family reunion. I tossed and turned in the middle of the night. The days have turned from yesterday to today as I sit on this airline flight. Soon, there will be hugs. Some will be polite, others a little more tight. Some hugs mixed with kisses, and those very special hugs that will last a little longer and will be a little tighter and a little harder for me to let go until a whisper in my ear tells me, it's all right. I remember what you remember. I see what you see. I feel what you feel. Our family love is so, so real. Weren't we blessed to grow as cousins in such a loving family nest that spread across the country from east to west? It's okay, cousin. You can let me go now. I promise this time I won't run away or tease you about the way you dance like you have ants in your pants, or hide and make you seek. I'll even let you get me last. It's okay, cousin. You can let me go. I know, I know. I love you too. It felt like yesterday I held you high as a shoe. I'll see you at the next family reunion. Family reunion. Family. Love you, cousin. Thank you, David. Again, we're all cousins, and so glad everyone is here. I don't know how many of you, most of you should have the red book, which is our family history, written in the 70s. So that means there's a whole lot of generations that have come after, and Kimberly Casson Matthews has been gathering those names faithfully and pictures so we can do a pictorial. So I'm going to start reading from here so we can get an idea of the origins, okay, the grandparents that we share with Frederick Douglass. He is our first cousin. Yes, he's your first cousin. How many generations removed you have to count. But he is our first cousin. So let's read about our mutual grandparents. Betsy and Isaac Bailey. Frederick Douglass writes in Life and Times, my first experience of life, as I now remember it, and I remember it but hazily, began in the family of my grandmother and grandfather, Betsy and Isaac Bailey. They were considered old settlers in the neighborhood, and from certain circumstances, I infer that my grandmother especially was held in high esteem, far higher than the lot of the most colored persons in that region. She was a good nurse, our healing hands, and a capital hand at making nets, crafting, arts, keeping her hands busy, used for catching shad and herring, and was, withal, somewhat famous as a fisherwoman. I have known her to be in the water waist deep for hours, seine hauling. She was a gardener as well as a fisherwoman, and remarkable for her success in keeping her seedling sweet potatoes through the months of winter, and easily got the reputation of being born to good luck. In planting time, Grandmother Betsy was sent for in all directions, simply to place the seedling potatoes in the hills or drills, for superstition had it that her touch, that healing touch, was needed to make them grow. This reputation was full of advantages for her and her grandchildren, for the good crop, after her planting for the neighbors, brought her a share of the harvest. Whether because she was too old for field service
or because she was faithfully discharged the duties of her station in early life, I know not, but she enjoyed the high privilege of living in a cabin separate from quarters, having only to share for the young children and the burden of her own support imposed upon her. She esteemed it great good fortune to live so, and took much comfort in having the children. He goes on to describe our grandmother, and let me talk a little bit about Isaac, our grandfather. Isaac Bailey. Isaac's place of birth, his parentage, and the manner in which his freedom came about remain mysteries. It is possible that he was a relative of Old Bale of the Skinner group, as that name has followed the family from the 1740s until the present time in the form of Bailey. This spelling of the name appears in 1832 Talbot County list of free Negroes, as Isaac is listed as having been 60 in 1832, for his year of birth should be 1772, 2 years before Betsy, which was 1774. The ledger excerpts will show that in 1809, Isaac was paid for sawing wood and received $26.50 for the services of his wife, Betsy, but they called her Betty, as a midwife with 11 women. Again, those healing hands. That's why we're in medicine, a lot of us. Physical therapy, sports medicine, so it's all in your DNA. Further entries of the same year, purchases of foodstuffs and $35 cash paid to him and his wife. A unique entry of December 25th, 1812 reads, "To the hire of my man Bale to saw and his services rendered. Contract A, $35. The year 1826 shows 2 orders, an Old Betty and 5 days of plowing and horses, land and plow at $1 total $5. Grandfather was free and grandmother was a slave. She was his wife and he was by her side as far as we can trace. Now we know that it was told to us that everyone came here as slaves from Africa, but we are now finding out that many of those of African descent or darker complexion were actually indigenous here long before anybody else came and long before slaves. So maybe we can find out more about Isaac to see, because he was free from the time that we can find out. Centuries before. Isaac Bailey, our grandfather Isaac Bailey. So I'm not going to continue with the lot. We are running behind, but Isaac and Betsy, they had 12 children, okay? One of them was Harriet, that's Frederick Douglass's mother. Another daughter was young Betts, that's Stephen's mother. So, Frederick and Stephen are first cousins because their mothers are sisters. So, every generation after, Frederick Douglass is your first cousin, 1 generation removed, 2 generations removed, and all of us are descendants of Stephen Bailey and his wife, Caroline. Then they had a bunch of children. So I'm going to read a little bit about Stephen and a little bit about Caroline. He grew up with his grandmother, with Frederick. They grew up under their grandmother's attention until he was old enough to go to the fields, just like Frederick was old enough and went somewhere else to work. But they grew up together, and they remained friends through their lifetime. There's so much here, and I don't want to, I'm hoping everybody can read, but Stephen was born in 1819 and died in 1894. Okay, Caroline was born in 1824 and died in 1909. Okay, we are the descendants of their children, and they have a picture. This was taken at the funeral for Caroline, for their mother. And these are either our aunts and uncles or our grandparents. Okay? So these are the Baileys. We're all Baileys. I am from Caroline Bailey Casson. So that's how the Casson part came in. Two brothers from the Casson line, and their first cousin from the Bailey line said we should have a family reunion and keep it. So they were the first generation after. Okay, well, I'm sorry. The siblings and the children of Stephen and Caroline were the first generation of first cousins. Their children, which my grandfather is the second generation. My father is the third generation first cousin from Frederick Douglass. I'm the fourth, so he's my first cousin, 4 generations removed. My children are first cousins, 5 generations removed, and my grandchildren are 6 generations removed, first cousins. So you are all first cousins, and we need to find out today how many generations removed. Also, how Betsy and Isaac Bailey are your grandparents. How many generations removed? Because they are your grandparents. And you see that this administration is trying to delete all the books of our history, stop things that are in the museums of our history, and we are blessed. We are blessed. We could go back to the 1700s. We have the receipts. The papers are in here about who was sold and when and for how much. When Stephen was sold, when Caroline was sold, and how much they were worth. When our great, how many greats grandmother, Betsy, was moved and sold, and how much she was worth. So please get to know your history. Understand that those gifts that you have are in your DNA. Use them. Your ancestors are behind you. And if John would like to, Cousin John, you raise your hand. Where's John? Do you want to come up and say anything? John was at the very first reunion. And we are blessed to have him here today. We are so blessed. And I'm sorry, I didn't tell him I was going to bring him up here, but he's good. Okay.
Hi, everybody. You just heard an analysis of our past, and I just want to make a couple of comments about it. The plantation was called the Y Plantation, and it was the richest plantation in Eastern Shore of Maryland. It had its own ship, which took the crops to Baltimore and to Philadelphia. They owned those ships there. However, all the slaves were not owned by the plantation owners. The chief overseer of all this, I'm talking about ships and all that kind of stuff he was responsible for, he actually owned Betsy Bailey, Stephen, and all of those slaves. So, of course, he got paid for their work, so forth. Betsy was also, what's his name? President Jefferson. If you know about Thomas Jefferson, he had a slave who had a little room in his bedroom. Well, this overseer had a house behind the main house on the Y Plantation. And Betsy Bailey he owned, but she had a little house on the road down from the plantation all by herself until she got married to Isaac, of course. So that's just some of the stuff you don't quite hear about all the time that actually went on. But if you get a chance to go to that Y Plantation, that's a historic place now in the Eastern Shore of Maryland. you ought to pay a visit to it, because you'll see that house behind the house where the chief overseer lived with his family and with our, what is it, grandmother, however you want to count. But she was also a midwife for everybody in that area, so forth. So that's,
Right. And many of her grandchildren were midwives.
yeah. Yeah, and she also had her own medicines, so forth that day. Herb medicines, I would assume they were.
So our herbalists, we have a lot of herbalists that are here, taking those roots and plants to heart, know how to use them, know that they're good for us. So it's still in the DNA coming through.
And you ought to try to publish the next edition of this book.
So hopefully, we're going to talk about these millennials and Gen Z and Gen X and taking charge of this reunion. So we're going to have elections. So we're going to talk about what the president does, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and hopefully some of you will take up the responsibility and keep this going. It's a treasure. Very few people know. How many people do you know that can take their family back, their DNA back to the 1700s? Receipts in hand. Okay, so it's a gift, and we need to make sure that it continues. They're trying to stop us.
And the records are available. I was on the committee that helped publish this book. And we visited Baltimore's historic libraries and so forth, the federal libraries and so forth. You can read the slave records, so you can find all the people you talk about in this book. You can find their records, how much they were owed, how much they sold for, and all that kind of stuff and so forth.
Okay, so thank you, family that's online. We're trying to come up, so those of you that couldn't make it, we're trying to make sure that we bring as many people together. Thank you, John. So we're going to finish this part out. We're going to go over to Sumter Hall and continue. So everybody get ready. I want everyone to introduce themselves and let everybody know what your interests are so that you can see your cousins that you didn't realize are doing the same things and interested in the same things that you are. All you entrepreneurs that are here, all those in medicine, all those in art, design. Yeah, we have a lot of you around here. So thank you all, and there are refreshments, little something to tide you over till we eat at the park. So thank you again. And thank you, Zakira, for helping us with our technology. Okay, we're going to go right out this door right here, follow the breezeway over and up the steps to Sumter Hall. I can get a key for those of you that
I think we can log off now, everybody. It was great seeing you. Love you.
Love you more. Thank you. This was great. Thank you.
Yes, great. Thank
Gonna
you.
get the book. Thank you.
All right. Have a
Thank
blessed
you,
day.
everyone.
Thank
You
you. You
too.
too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. I think we can log off now, everybody. It was great seeing you. Love you.
Love you more. Thank you. This was great. Thank you. Get the book. Thank you.
All right. Have a
Thank
blessed
you,
day.
everyone.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Bye.